There we go. Okay. Be back soon. So the true process of all your spiritual work can be defined in the points which are to come. Often people get confused about what spiritual work truly is and what the understanding of the true connection is. And then what to do with that connection. Once you touch spirit, how should you express spirit? And this becomes just as difficult as finding spirit in the first place. Finding the true touch of source, of the creation, the creator, the inner world, the self, the soul, whatever you would like to call it. So the work becomes perhaps divided into three parts. And you'll see these three parts in the description to come. But they are to find your journey inwards and remember that connection. Then build up faith or strength in that connection. Understand it. Realize what you are doing. Be grounded in all it is. And then the third part, which begins with lots of effort and ends with lots of surrender, is the release of what you find. So you must look in and find, you must establish, and then you must release. All spiritual work is defined in those three processes. It reveals much beyond the process and will show you the true essence of love, spirit, source, whatever you would like to say it. So it's a journey through the body and mind into the soul and beyond into spirit. So there are many individuals in the first level, a lot less when one starts to find the soul self. And then, of course, either you want to say there is only one or there is nothing in the establishment and expression of the spirit or spiritual self, the truth. If you don't understand this process, and you don't understand the work in establishment and expression, then you are lost. You're lost, and you will find that you are wandering around in a fog, trying to decide either what this means or what you should do. And then you have a desire for meaning or purpose. How do I express this? What do I do? How do I help others? How do I heal the world and heal the self? And when you are lost in that fog, well, what work can you do? If you're not truly grounded in the essence of oneself, then how can you even believe or know how to express that self into the physical world? Oh, you perhaps could even say all of the commandments and dharmas and instructions of various religions and beliefs are within the points that are to be expressed soon. But there is no point in you just accepting what I am telling you. You must do your work. You must discover yourself, for others, and for no one special. So much of the work that we have done, either in these sessions or in other groups, are the establishment of this process. And it must continue until you truly understand it and truly shift all the blocks and boundaries and expressions which are in the way of that truth. So in a moment, I'm going to start to define them for you. And if you listen to them with the background understanding of remembering, restoring that grounded connection, and then releasing, you'll see the process at play, if you would like. But before we begin this, I think it's perhaps important to begin with the healing list of names, if I can have those, please.
Yes, thank you. Charlotte, Phil, and Aura, Marissa, Kathleen and Anne, Amanda Thompson, Alex Moore, Danielle, Amanda, Helen, Mirabai, Joy, C. Megan, Jacobek family, Jules, Stephen and Matthew, Eric, Andrea, Katie, Jesse, Joe, Ted, Karen and Daniel, Myra, Tabitha, Courtney, and Justin, and may all be happy. Thank you.
So today's talk is the essence of the work. The first part of this process is best said in quite a cliche phrase, and that is, all the work is a journey within. As many people start to look external for all their answers, and in fact, the vast majority of the world does not even know of this inner journey. They may have heard of the phrase, but never truly understood it. Now, the journey within means far more than just inner reflection, being peaceful on the inside. It is a journey that I'm going to detail in more detail soon, so you can understand the true process of what this within means. But every action, interaction, every play of the world, every role that you undertake is a signpost that points you to the inner world. The mind tries to create structure and concept around what the work is. And at first that can be useful, but soon becomes part of the illusion. The spiritual work is, in fact, part of the play. The play is the spiritual work. But not a play that is just within the physical, but also within the soul's evolution as well. The soul, knowing of the true self, struggles to get to it, feels like it is hindered, hampered, held back from its truth. And the soul begins to look externally for more external experiences, and has many of them. But it is only in the last parts of the tick of the clock that the spiritual work is undertaken and the true work that's done. So some time ago, I expressed this in terms of a clock and said, it is only when the clock strikes 55 minutes past the hour that your spiritual work starts. The understanding of spirituality, even the desire for religions and understandings, begins in these last few minutes of your process of living earthly physical lives. If you are looking external for your answers, you're trying to satisfy your external needs, you are not doing the inner work of understanding. So an enormous amount of lifetimes is lived until one starts the journey of looking in. The equivalent of 55 minutes. And your journey in is only the last few. So the second point is all work is derived from the relationships you have with other people, objects, and things. The relationships you have with them is the classroom. That is the class, just that. Class is not driving the car unless it's an inward feeling and expression with it. It is that connection of relationships to others that will give you your growth, your learning, and your understanding of this inner world. This relationship both with yourself and with other people. So all relationships, the whole of the classroom, is a signpost inwards. And this, of course, is then the remembering, the return to the truth that you must do. So as you walk your life, you remember and you forget. You remember the inner world, but then all too frequently you forget the inner world and believe the external interaction. Then along comes a signpost, if you would like, to say, go inwards, look inward. You have what you need and what you want. So look at all of the class as an expression of what is inwards that needs to be done. You'll see this a little further in points to come. The third point to understand is the soul being the storehouse of all memory, all experience, and therefore the creation of the new classroom, of the karma, of the conditioning, of beliefs that exist, creates the next class. So the subconscious mind, the soul, believing it is hard, believing it is the cleaning and cleansing to go to its true self, must empty itself of the limitation of belief. Karmas must be dusted away, false beliefs, false understanding resolved and cleansed and cleared, so that the soul then can become purified and finally become the spiritual truth. So you are not the mind and you are not this subconscious heart. You're beyond both of them. Yet the heart here, the limited, the physical heart, the emotional, is just but the expression of what is beyond it. And if the expression is hampered by false beliefs, then you will not be able to make the true process. So the spiritual work then becomes one of cleansing and clearing and seeing clear what is occurring with others. And if one can truly ground in this purity of the clear expression, the clear diamond, then the flow of purity will flow through. The next point, all relationships are the acceptance of the other person. Now, this becomes a more advanced level. So you see the other person, you accept them for the way they are, not look at their wrongdoings, not look at their false or poor behavior, not look at all the things they hold you back. You accept their journey the way their journey is. By accepting them, you accept yourself. And you see the process of cleansing and clearing means you are not this limitation. And therefore, you do not seek approval, validation. You do not seek control of the other. You do not seek to hold them back or even try to change them. That is not acceptance, trying to change them. You do not say to them, you should be doing more spiritual work. You should be doing more meditation. But you see the acceptance of others, not seeking validation, approval, or any other quality from the other, is the acceptance of your truth is inside you. And the expression of you is that which is inside, flowing through the inside. So this is still grounding oneself in that truth and trusting that that is the right way, by realizing that love is the answer. Love is the expression. And it first feels like that this love is all that's required. And indeed, it would be true. But if it is an expression of love based in this approval, validation, control, the egoic self, then you are caught in the subconscious mind of it. And you do not fully express love because the ego wants love in its way. Love is held back in its flow. It is not given totally or purely. It is just another tool one uses for that expression, which is then still false rather than pure. So there is the need for approval as one step, and there is the second or further step of the acceptance. You accept others, you accept self. And in accepting others, you are accepting yourself. So if you made 100 or 1,000 mistakes, sometimes earlier in your life, they get cleared away far easier if one is truly accepting you made them, rather than trying to hide them or trying to pretend they do not exist. So don't just associate false beliefs with these errors that you had. Be truthful with them. I did this and it was not my best day there. Is part of the healing process. So the healing takes place in acceptance, not in rejection or hiding. And by being that true expression, the flow through the subconscious mind of the pure love state. You see, people think that they must limit or hold back, control or store up this love that one has. But that can't be true, because the love was never created in the physical world. It's only from beyond the physical world that it comes. See, the next point is people form boundaries. Now, the boundaries to begin with are self-love. I accept and I do not accept the actions of others. I do not accept your behavior that way. But as one now begins to open at this level, the boundaries will fall as you discover the universal love. So in your spiritual work, boundaries are initially important, but then become obstacles. Now, just because a person has, let us say, poor behavior, and firstly, you protect yourself from it, and then as you advance, you release that protection, and you accept them the way they are. That is their belief. It does not mean that you have to sit in their presence all the time and endure the barrage of bad behavior and poor words and poor action. But it does mean that if you are in their presence, if you've established in this essential self, then your work is true there. You see, the way then of the bodhisattva, the way of the true spiritual person, is based purely in that connection at this point. And you could say that the bodhisattva, the true spiritual expression, one embodying this love, is like walking a railway track. No diversion off that track is needed because it is only that work, only the truth of expression. One does not need to divert it in any way and express love one way and then try to express it another. It is the expression of the true essence that is important. So unless one is truly knowing of this process, one is still caught up in mind and concept of what love, spiritual work, essence, what one should do and how should do it and how effective I am at doing it. It's all egoic. It's all the play, the illusion, the falsity. And one then must go within one more time and start that inner reflection from the first point. So if you see people or comprehend people that are saying they are an expression of love and that is all they must do, do they truly understand? Or are they caught in the mind comprehension or the ego comprehension of this expression? So perhaps you could say, is it pure love or impure love? Is it limited? Is it the true expression? Or is it just pretty? Pretty from the point of trying to attract, trying to be something it is not. So the next point is, it is all an expression of the purity of self. So one's journey then is not seeking answers in the exterior, looking inwards, cleansing, clearing, establishing oneself within this true understanding. You can call it all sorts of fancy names, but unless your soul is cleansed, the subconscious mind is clear, then there cannot be a true expression of the purity that is beyond all. So you have been taught by many different educators, either books or people or talks that have been given, but understand it in the process of truth, inwards, cleansing, healing, establishing there. Not establishing within the subconscious, but beyond. And allowing the flow of what is beyond that to flow through you in all your actions and interactions. So there is the physical world full of individuals. There is the soul, and the soul still individual, but not physical, that is also doing the classroom. And that goes on into what you have termed spirit world, the classroom of the non-physical self. And you evolve through that level many, many years of understanding of the true cleansing of self, volunteering to come back to truly grasp the experience of understanding what various experiences are. Spirit world then still based in this mind, the creation of the mind, the creation of the play, the creation of the individual, the creation of the non-physical individual, all within the subconscious self. Only for all of that to realize there is no individual, that the soul becomes the spirit. So what is, let us say, 8 billion or so individuals gradually defines down into fewer numbers until there is just one. And then that one disappears also. So then people say that the whole of this spiritual path is an expression of love. That the creation is no more than love. That the individual is no more than love. And all the work is just how well I can express love. But the understanding is the truth of love, not in the egoic or human love, not in the love where I think and therefore I have love, but the love that is beyond conscious, unconscious, subconscious, soul, spirit world, but the truth of you. So you must first go inwards. And when you are tempted to go outwards, go in. See that all relationships are your chance to practice your truth. You cleanse and clear your internal self, the soul. You cleanse it by releasing and seeing yourself as more than that karma. That need for approval and validation, the need to control, and into the need to accept. So the work then is the release of the trigger points, release of the false beliefs, the release of I know. And establishing oneself in I don't know. And you accept that. There is so much freedom when you can just accept you do not know. And you don't need to. So how clear is your diamond? How clear is your expression? We have, over the course of particularly the last few weeks, touched our essence in those which I have guided to it. You have touched the emptiness, the purity. You touch the formless nature of self. You couldn't do this if you were not in the position to be able to. So now one establishes oneself there, removes all the pulls away from that through S. And finds oneself in the true expression. So our work then, in the coming time, in the talks that I will give through this session and in others, is the release, the cleansing, the clearing, the false beliefs. Even in the last few seconds of the tick of the clock that I alluded to, there is still the false belief that one is the body. And we must change that belief from one is the body to one has the body, and then further still. One believes in the play and the illusion, not sees it why it has been given to you. Why the subconscious mind, in its impure way, creates. It is the creation point of ego, the creation point of play, the creation point of the physical world is the subconscious mind. And therefore it is creating its classroom. And therefore it is creating its method out of the classroom. It is creating what must be learned. It's creating the experiences or the escape route. It is trying to shake itself free. So the subconscious mind creates all the existence you see, all the false beliefs, and understands the real beliefs beyond it. But it feels chained to the physical world. So hence then the belief of the individuality and the belief of the body is still primary, right? Through the tick of the clock. And yet you are given all the signposts of this not being true. In the work we've done, we've stood back from the play. In the connection to spiritual self, one sees one or another as being more than a body, yet cannot accept that you are not more. So hence we must dive into death. We'll look at that in the future. But death isn't an end, is it? It's a beginning. It is a start. It is a reset button. For some, they must reset and live again one more time immediately, or close to immediate. Well, there's a little delay in time and a choice happens. But if your subconscious mind is not understanding the creation of another experience, and another and another and another will go on indefinitely. Our work is to put a pause in it, at least to begin with. Stop. Can you see that the subconscious mind, desiring another experience, trying to find its doorway to its truth, creates again, immediately, because it thinks the answer is out there. If I have another experience, I will surely find my way. If I gain another skill, if I could just have another dollar, I will find my way. And then it looks in and says, if I can release these burdens, I will find my way. If I did not have these relationships, these hindrances of body or physical self in some way, I will find my way. And the soul becoming ever brighter as it lets go, as it sees the truth in all creation. The soul realizes itself. The consciousness becomes aware of its consciousness. And then the release of truth takes place because it's from the purity, not from the impurity. So you go inwards, you cleanse, and you express. And not only then do you heal the play, you heal the soul, and you express the spirit. So the spirit self wants to know itself. And allows itself into the physical world in all its refinery. And the hole in the veil becomes all there is. No hindrance. And the expression of light is done. So look at your relationships and see them as an expression of acceptance. See them as the chance to love. See them as a cleansing for you in particular. And if there are pain in relationship, this is a sign of what you're holding on to and you must let go of. Are you holding on to the way you think it should be? Therefore, you're holding back the love because it shouldn't be expressed in the way that it's presenting itself. So how wide is your veil, or the hole in your veil? So whole healing in all its work is a revealing of the true self. So your clock is ticking. And the fact that you are beginning or partway through or nearing the end of your understanding is how close to the hour one is. The hour of truth. And one realizes. To let yourself be open. See the classroom. Heal thyself. And be love. From its purity. Not from its limitation. And that is your work. So for a long time, we have been doing this process. Of course, looking in, reminder to always look in. Touching the essence. So close to the end when you can touch it. And choosing that as your truth. That's where I will stay. If you think you know, you do not. If you can't dwell and retain yourself there, you have more minutes on the clock left yet. So you've been given an opportunity, a reminder of truth, a reminder of what one must do. Can you establish yourself in the essence? Can you retain that essence? Can you feel peace and love, even in a storm, when you've lost all? Can you be prepared to lose all because peace and love is more important to you? Then you've understood. Then you've truly grasped it. If peace and love is more important to you, can you let go of the physical world and all its demands and needs and prettiness? And you must establish yourself in that. If not, let us go back to beginning. So this point is a fine line. Can I be grounded there? Can I stay there in peace and love? Or the world tempt me one more time. And then my journey will carry on. There is your end, and there is your reincarnation at that point. If you don't get it right, I will see you next time and tell you again. If you do get it right, you will see me and all the others in the nothingness, a state of pure bliss. So your barometer, your litmus test, your exam is, can I stay there or not? Until then, until we talk again, the essence of the work is there. God bless you all.